Hey folks, Farm Tour Tuesday, February 14th, 2023, so Valentine's Day. So it is horribly windy, and I am out here between rain showers trying to get this filmed and do chores so that me and the pigs have to stand around in the rain. So hopefully you guys can hear me over this wind. I've got my hand kind of over the speaker, so fingers crossed that kind of helps. So I feel like I got a lot done this week and not a lot done this week at the same time. Like a lot of the things I wanted to get done did not get done. I really can't believe that it's Tuesday already. Like this week has gone so fast. And a lot of the things I wasn't sure if I'd get to this week got done. We're kind of on a time crunch because I've got to finish this job that I'm on before we leave. Well, as fast as possible, of course, that's always the goal, but absolutely before we leave for a trip here at the middle of March. So I've got to get a bunch of this stuff done. Plus, it's all this stuff that has to be done before the buds start to swell. So we've got that. And then when we get back, should be within a week or two after we get back is when piglets start to arrive, the end of March. So like, all this stuff at once. And we're working on our kitchen reno still. I haven't done as much lately just because I've been so slammed with all the rest of this stuff. But, so we're out here with so that also means that none of the pigs have moved. Everybody's still where they were. I do feel terrible because they're still where they have been. We haven't been able to rotate the last couple of weeks. But man, this pig Tetris is really kicking my butt. Like, I've got a couple ideas of what I could do with some. Like, I'd like to, as soon as the feeder piglets make it through these bales that they've got, bump them down to paddock 2 and maybe move Payday and his ladies back to have 4 and 5. Those ones that have one shelter that I'm sharing between the two, because it's got a bale and their bale's about out. You'll see that in a few. But then I don't know what the heck I'm going to do with, no, I'm sorry, that's Red and his ladies bump back. Payday and his ladies are the ones I don't know what I'll do with. So yeah, I'm just trying to puzzle that one out. If I can figure out where to go with them, then Pig Tetris is resolved for another couple weeks. But until then, I don't know what I'm going to do. In the meantime, let's flip it around and show you some of the stuff I have got done and show you the piglets. So you can see we've been pulling off these bales off the top. You can see what is me and what is them, because the top leaves a funny weird shape when I pull it from, and they leave a mushroom shape when they eat it. And they've been eating that bottom, making the mushroom shapes, and I've been pulling the tops. But I've been pulling to cover all the mud here through the gate and all around this area. This is one area I really wanted to seed heavily. This whole area for the last like 4 years or so just comes up in kind of solidly crabgrass, Bermuda, and pigweed. So if I could get some other stuff to grow in here from what's in this hay, fantastic. And I'll also bring in some seed and scatter it. But everyone is still out here. That's one of the things that I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's already Tuesday. He's still in here. Her leg totally healed up. So I think she just got it in some sucking mud. Probably being chased around by Miss Big Grumpy Butt over here, who has to assert her dominance as the biggest lady. Yeah. So that's really it with these guys. There hasn't been really any change. We did some leaky weirs, so we got one of those in here. We've started to cut all of the coppice and pollards, which that video should hopefully be live. So you got to see those done and the detailed explanation on that. Yeah, I think that's it. I've got a little bit of trimming to do on some of our other trees. Like I want to trim up these mulberries in the fence rows down to where because the goal with all these ones on the fence, these mulberries here, is to train them to be pollards. So I want to pollard the top here, and these guys had been knocked over and eaten by our sheep back when we had sheep many times before we finally got these nicer cages on. All the other cages we tried, they just kept destroying. So these finally did the trick. But what it means is I just need to keep pruning every year, which goes fast. Like this is 2 years of back growth after I resolved that, and like 3 years of them being eaten down to the ground every year. So they're surprisingly resilient. We're just pruning them back, and then once they reach the tall stem, well, they'll look like this one over here. Walk over here real quick and show you that. I've got a short that hopefully is already live on this one. That wind is terrible. this is what we're aiming for. And this one, same thing. This one was actually just a volunteer. And so what we've been doing is every year just pruning it back. I already got it pruned for this year. And finally, it is to the height where we can start forming a knob. So I went ahead and left 4 branches because I want there to be some shade in this paddock pretty early on in the year. And I'll let these guys grow in and start forming that knob. But typically you would just go ahead and cut them off. I'm hoping that will encourage this to send more energy to these and less to spraddle on the stem, because then all throughout the season I have to strip these off. That is one benefit too. If you can get to it pretty early and not let them do that, like cut those all throughout the season, you'll have a much cleaner stem and less epicormic branching. So, but yeah, that's where we're out here with the feeders. No real change on that. You know that that little boar piglet's got to go over to join Toast, as well as the Cryptorchid and the one barrow that'll be for his companionship once the Cryptorchid goes on Easter as a whole roaster hog. And then the others will go in the next month or two. I've got to decide what I want to do with those. If I can get my kitchen done and maybe get the smokehouse built, I might, or if it looks like those will be close, I might push them back and I might just process them on farm. And I've got some details about that, some thoughts that I'm still working through. I'm probably going to take and just kind of like mull it over the next couple weeks and decide what I want to do. So keep your eyes and ears out for some updates on what'll happen with that. You can, if you want a whole or half hog, you can reach out and we can go that route with just taking them into the processor. But yeah, well, I've got some other ideas that might work out for those, and I don't want to say anything and then not do that. So that's why I'm kind of being vague about that. Let's move on and check out the breeders. So as I said a minute ago, these guys are all still where they were, and they've already been fed because I filmed this all once already vertically. And so I'm just swapping around. I feel like you guys have gotten enough of my accidental vertical videos for your horizontal content lately. So these guys are all they're still where they were, which to be honest is like, so I need to take this bale and roll it out to cover up that muddy spot and this along the fence here, which will then wipe them out of a bale. So then that further means they absolutely have to move somewhere. Oatmeal. And same thing, I had to pull that off the fence that they had pushed into it last week and cover up the spot right there. But then the rest of that is just smooshed in hay. Like it looks kind of muddy, but that's just smooshed in hay. We'll walk over there in a sec. But what amazes me, right, is they have been in here almost a month because I just have not really been able to move them. Or 3 weeks, whatever. And they haven't destroyed it. Like, I mean, their hooves, right, have destroyed that all along the fence here. But this honestly looks a lot like what my neighbor's cattle fields and like all the rest of them you drive around in the Ozarks that they leave their cows out on all the time. Like there are the pathways where the animals walk. The grass is cropped real close and short to the soil, but not destroyed, which of course, like, no, we don't want to see that, right? Like that's not what I want my fields to look like. It is, you know, end of February. So, and I have just shy of 30 pigs. I think now we're down because we've processed and then got rid of the one piglet. It's actually like 23. Yeah, 23 pigs on farm now, but through most of the winter there, I had 30 pigs. So like on like 4.5 acres. So I don't know. I'm pretty impressed with the minimal amount of damage that there should be. There should be a lot more damage than this. So, and that's, you know, I don't want any damage, but there's going to always be some. And we can always maximize that, right? Like we could do what a lot of folks do and put them up in a barn over winter and just deep bed them in a barn and make compost. But I don't have a tractor, folks. Like I can't clean that out. I could beg my neighbors to come over and help me clean it out, but I don't like doing that. And instead what we can do is we can bring out 18 round bales this year. And as we're spreading it out, you can see here, their hooves are digging that into the ground. So the top like of this whole stretch, this area right here has had 2 round bales. That's all that's left of the second one. And then the same goes for right there. That's had 2 complete round bales. So everybody's hooves for these 18 bales have just been digging it into the soil in these areas. And that could get raked out a little bit better, but like that is a massive amount of organic matter, seriously guys, that is now being composted and spread out directly into the soil versus me having to use a tractor and a manure spreader to try to spread it back out on our bumpy, rocky, overly tree planted, you know, so cages all over the place, it makes it a disaster to drive stuff around. So I still get the benefit of that compost, but it's in place. Their manure and everything is right there where it needs to be. And to resolve the fact that that does cause some erosion issues, right? Like, I'm not gonna pretend it doesn't. That's what we're putting in those leaky weirs for. You saw that video that just went out. Now I'm starting to get rained on pretty good. So that's what the leaky weirs are for. They'll hopefully resolve what little bit remains of that before the grass starts growing. So not fantastic. I do need to get these guys moved because like they could go back there where there's plenty of grass and not any destruction at all beyond right around the gate. But we've got to figure out, and they'll need it because they're out of hay now that once I spread this out. I just got to figure out what to do with payday. So circling back to that, but yeah. So not fantastic. Oh, we got elderberries in too this week. That was another one of the things that I was like, oh, I got some stuff done I wasn't really expecting to be able to get done, but other things I didn't. So we got elderberries in this week, and we are, oh, I've got raindrops on my camera. Yeah, let's go ahead and just roll this out. We are going to continue to try to crack away at this stuff. I've got a lot of trees to dig up that we have planted in beds up in the garden that I gotta need to pull up and transplant out in the field before their buds start to break. So lots of stuff to try to do over the next couple weeks before buds break. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys really enjoy these Farm Tour Tuesdays and kind of seeing, you know, exactly where our farm is and what changes from one week to the next. Oh, nothing has changed with Toast. He's still over there. That's gonna happen in the next couple weeks, so we'll resolve it. So like end of February, same as I've been saying. End of February is where I'm planning it. So, which will probably go back and forth as to whether or not it's on farm or not. Just from the time frame that it'll take me, right? It would take me between driving to the processor, dealing with them, and picking everything back up and coming back twice. That's like 6 hours. And honestly, it's gonna take me it'll take me less than 6 hours to process him into cubes of dog meat if that's what it winds up being on farm. So like, I don't know. And if he winds up smelling fine and we get people food out of it, then great. But anywho, so again, I hope you guys really get something worthwhile out of seeing how our farm changes from week to week, and all the little things that we're trying to get done and cram in, and honestly, a lot of the things that we don't get done, right? Like that is a lot of this, is I want new farmers coming into this to see that, oh, hey, like don't worry when you don't get everything done, because there's always more to get done. And for those of you that already are farming, maybe just some validation that like, hey, you're not alone. We can't all get everything done all the time. Like nobody does that. It's not possible. It's not feasible. This is way too much work for people that also have to work regular jobs off farm. So yeah, hope this is helpful. Thank you to our Patreon supporters, Raymond and Ashley Hunter. And thank you to all of you that watch these. Like, you guys are super, super appreciated. We are getting close, just as a little tidbit in case you guys were curious, we're getting closer and closer to monetization. We are sitting at like 680 subscribers, and we are at a little over 2,500 watch hours of the 4,000 needed, and you need 1,000 subscribers. So we're getting pretty close to that, so that'd be pretty neat. Even if we do hit it, like, it will be, unless we just blow up, not gonna happen. But unless that happens, like, we will make like $3 a month at our current views, so it's not like we'll make a ton of money or anything, but it'd just be interesting and cool to hit that milestone. So if you know anybody that might be interested in our videos, please feel free to share. If you haven't subscribed already and you do watch a lot of our videos, hit that subscribe button. It is super helpful towards us reaching that goal. So you guys have a great week, and I look forward to a haze of green in the next couple Farm Tour Tuesdays as that grass starts to come around. You guys have a good week.